Hello again. About a week ago, there was an announcement on the Haiku forum about a UI builder for Yab. And so, downloaded it, installed it, and we're going to have a look at it. Now, at the time, I said, yeah, I probably won't be using it much. But I was wrong. Yeah. Because what I was expecting is not quite what this is. This is much more likely to be something that I'll use. Right? And while you download it here, I've put a link on my website and a bit of a confused situation. It is not open source, but the source code is supplied. Okay. So you can download the source code and learn from it. And I'm planning to do that because this guy's made some things in Yab that I haven't a clue how he did it. So it'll be interesting to see that. But you cannot just fork it and make your own version. Right. So let's see. Here is download. 64-bit package, H package only. Right on. I have no problem with that. Okay, so where are we going to find it? Well, we're not going to find it here. We're going to find it down here. But you can always fix that with a symlink to the non-packaged. Okay, immediately I've got a little bit of a problem in taking up my whole screen because I've got a very small virtual screen here, but never mind. So we've got a workspace here and we've got some controls. You've seen this sort of thing before, right? Well, you may think you have. Okay, text URL label. So now, right. So now what you probably think is that you can pick this up and put it over there. And that doesn't actually work. So you have to go in here and say, put this at 10 from the right, and click, and put this at 400. Now, it'll do nothing if you enter here. You have to click on the little check mark. Okay, go back to controls, button, button, button. All right, there we go. Button. And it immediately changes to objects. And all right, I like my buttons to be a little skinnier. So label, call it test 1. Again, you cannot just move these around visually, okay? Also, you can't right-click on it and say, I want another button. Right, you have to go through this whole story. X, we'll put this on 100. check, and we'll put this 20 from the top. Check. Okay, let's see. Do we have a thing for a menu? What's this? Column box, drop box, label. What are these? Canvas. Okay, but never mind. Okay, so the first thing you have to realize is you can go here to objects. You don't get to, how shall I say, move these things around visually. You don't get to cut and paste them, right? And yeah, that's a little bit of a problem, not a big one. Most importantly, you do not get to add text to these items, right? So, I mean code, which is how most of these things work. This is strictly to write your interface. Okay, so let's save this. Right, save design as, put it on the desktop. Okay, a little bit slow here on this VM, but never mind. Right. Right, and you can also, oh, it hasn't been generated yet. Save your code. Now, how is that different? Let's see. Okay, I wish people wouldn't put spaces in these things. It's just asking for trouble. Okay, that's not on the desktop. Okay, let's close this down now. Right, seems to be a little bit of a memory hog. Okay, so this is 231 bytes. Let's just move that here. Right, my code.yab. And open this. Why is my host computer maxing out here on this tiny little thing? There we go. Okay, so what you see here is simply the code that you can actually paste into your regular development environment, whether you work with a text editor and a terminal or in the official IDE or whatever, right? So this is not a complete solution in which you create your button and immediately assign code if it gets clicked, which I have no problem with at all. And in fact, this is probably why I will end up using it much more than I thought. Now, how is this one different? Which I saved before I had generated the code. Ah, okay. So this is a kind of pseudocode. Right. So presumably, if we ran the program again, let's see. Okay, I hope there's a preference to get rid of the splash. Right, so now which of those two? I think this pseudocode is what you would then file, open, okay, have you got it? Yeah, this one. Yeah, that works. Okay, so it's important. There are two kinds of file that this generates. One is its own format, which is the kind of, it's not actually Yab, right? And that is the kind of file it can actually reload to work more on your design. The other one is the actual Yab code. If you try to reload the Yab code, it's going to crash. Don't ask me how I know that. Okay, so now the other thing is, if you do want to rework and you say, oh, I don't want this button anymore. All right, I can't right click on it and remove it that way. Can I right click on here and remove it? No. So that you can move things around, but how are you going? Maybe this will delete it. Yes, okay, that's not very intuitive, but it can be done. Okay, right. Final bit of gentle criticism. It's not entirely clear to a newbie, I think, that you've already created a main window and a main view. I mean, you see that once you've generated the code, but otherwise it's a little obscure. So yeah, I think you get used to that idea. See, but if I was a complete newbie, the first thing I would say is, right, I need a view. Right, the canvas, scroll bar, what's this? Stack view. Right, but tab view, and there it is, view. So the first thing I would do is slap on a view on the whole thing, which is not necessary because one has been created for you already. But maybe that'll be in the help. Let's have a look what the help is about. And are we going to... Hello, help, 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 help. I am not seeing help showing up. Is that just because my VM is struggling with this? Or what? Okay, so anyway, playground view. Right, so main window. So you can't actually edit the main window. But you've got a main window and you've got a view on top of it called playground view. But what if I want this to be, say, 640? All right, let's see what happens. Okay, it changes size. That's good. But that's only the view, right? It's still floating around on a main window that I can't change from here. Well, obviously I can change it in the code later on. Yeah, and the other thing, of course, is that in my programs at least, I rarely use actual numbers for my view sizes because it's almost always ends up being computed, being made up out of, what is the screen size, what is the screen depth, what is the maximum size I want, and so putting this up in absolute numbers is just a first step. So yes, I think that there are still some shortcomings. Now some of those are going to not be changed. This is a Yab program, and it's going to be incredibly difficult in Yab to just pick this up and put it somewhere else. I don't think we have those classes. You could work around it, but I think this program is already enough. It's a great program to build an initial layout, which you can then in your code develop further. Right? It's not a one-step kind of program where you end up, where you end up just using this to develop your entire program. And I think that was the right decision. That was a good decision. And yes, I think the author should be applauded for that. And, just, don't be tempted to turn this into something as fiendishly complicated as Lazarus. Keep it simple. Because there's an awful lot of properties that you could add to this. What's this? A label? Now let's see. Is this a text control? Yeah. Okay. See, so on a text control, you can make a hidden text. You can make it have the focus. I would say keep it simple and let your programmer refine it in the actual code rather than trying to shoehorn everything in there. I think as it is now, this is the right approach. There are some things I would like to still see. I really would like to just type in a number here and hit enter rather than reaching for the mouse and clicking on this. Yeah, but I can see myself using this. I really can. I think it's a great little addition to the Yab ecosystem. Trendy word of the day. Okay, and I think I've spoken much too long already. I think half my audience is asleep, but yeah, I'm going to play with this some more. I'm going to watch its development. This is exciting. Yeah, I like it.